Chers auditeurs,
Dear listeners,
bonjour.
welcome to Comme d'Archi Podcast Season 6.
Saison 6, dans le monde fascinant des architectes.
And in the architectural projects.
Je suis Anne-Charlotte Deponte, passionnée d'architecture et docteur des universités en histoire de l'archi.
I am one of the spokespersons of Anne-Charlotte, who is a PhD in architecture history.
Merci.
Thank you
D'être avec moi aujourd'hui.
to be with us today.
Et
And
maintenant,
now,
lundi en français, place au talent.
and Wednesday, let's talk projects. In English, of course.
Bienvenue dans Comme d'Archi.
Hello everyone. Hello Patrick Mauger.
Hello, Anne-Charlotte.
Thank you for being with us today. You are architect. Could you introduce us to yourself and your architectural practice?
I grew up in Normandy, in the northwest of France, with an even present view of the sea and endless horizons, which gave me a sense of freedom of expression in life. After high school, I moved to Marseille to study at the Marais School of Architecture, which is also located by another well-known body of water, the Mediterranean. I discovered the brilliant azure, blue light of the regions, much different from the various hues of the grey-blue light in Normandy. Following my architectural diploma, I entered two postgraduate programs, one in multimedia communication at Sciences Com, which now is Audencia in Nantes. The second postgraduate program was in depth architectural theory at the Paris Malaquais Architectural School, located in the famous École Nationale des Beaux-Arts. The Académie Française awarded me a grant from the Zelija Foundation, which enabled me to travel to the United States and Canada, write a thesis on commercial urban planning. Using the information from my thesis, I authored a book titled Les Centres Commerciaux, in English Shopping Centers, which was published by Éditions du Moniteur. When I came back to France, I began working on a team project called the Grand Louvre, which the architect I.M. Pey and Jean-Michel Wilmotte, who were commissioned by the President of France, François Mitterrand. The project entailed developing and integrating the wing of the Louvre that faces the Avenue Rivoli into the museum itself. In that process, we also created that today we see at the pyramid in the center of the immense courtyard of the Louvre Museum. This is not only expanded the Louvre Museum as we know it today, but also created a new entrance to the museum. I worked with Jean-Michel Wilmotte for 9 years on projects such as the Fine Art Museum of Lyon and the renovation of the Collège de France. This included the creation of several auditoriums below ground level. This encouraged me to create my own architectural form in 1999.
Bravo. What was your first project after you created your own firm?
My first 3 projects involved renovation and extensions of existing historical buildings. The first project was a 12th century manor in Normandy. The 4 wings of the building were renovated. 2 engineers who had worked on the Louvre Pyramid teamed up with my company to create a small glass building, which was developed for use as a restaurant, which overlooked the English Channel from the top of the cliff. The second project was in New York City, located on 59th Street. It was a former bank built in the 1940s. We created an auction house for LVMH. We were commissioned by the Louvre Museum to develop our third project, which was to reuse a cryptoporticus from the existing ruins of a Roman temple at an archaeological site and develop into a small museum in Jerash in Jordan. These 3 projects provide my firm with the skills necessary to rehabilitate and transform historical sites into contemporary usages. We developed a method which allows my team to listen to its customers' needs while respecting budgets.
Could you talk about one of your emblematic projects?
One of my agency's flagship projects is the Learning Planet Institute in the heart of Paris, in the historic Marais district, with a professor of neurobiology at the Collège de France. His name was Jacques Levinsky. Jacques encouraged me to establish a parallel between the similarities of the function of the human brain and architecture. He adopted a simplified model of how the brain is organized into three nested networks, which we could use in architecture. Together, we created a design imitating the function of the human brain. We built a student and research residence of 55 flats and an interdisciplinary research center of 7,500 square meters in an old Hôtel de Marais built in the 17th century, and the second adjacent building constructed in 1938. It is on a small, peaceful street parallel to the Seine. Several floors were added to the main building of the Hôtel de Marais in the 19th century. The more recent building is 5 stories, with stone facades, which was used as an industrial dairy. We created a contemporary extension at the back of this building for laboratories. The 3 main goals of this project were as follows. Number 1, create a single entrance for resident, researcher, and student alike. Number 2, created open spaces for school children, researchers, and members of the general public. And number 3, create transformable spaces from classroom to research or living areas in the upper level of the building. The first goal was to create a single entrance for resident, researcher, and students alike. As there were full-time students living at the center as well as full-time researcher at the same location, we addressed the issue by creating a common area which can be accessed separately by each group, thus permitting a flow between the 2 diverse groups. This flow consists of 3 networks that interact with each other: executive, regulatory, and energy. The second goal was to create spaces such as an auditorium, an interactive learning center, and a fab lab, which included 3D printers and other research equipment that are open to school children and members of the general public. The vision was to provide the public with access to lifelong learning and interaction with the world of research. The third goal was to create transformable spaces from classroom to research or living areas in the upper levels of the building. Every year, they rearrange these spaces according to their needs. The upper floors of the newly constructed extension, as well as the 20th century building, are areas of confidential research, as well as laboratories working with potentially dangerous or toxic substances, which is why they are off-limit of the general public. In this building that dates from the 17th and 1938, architecture from the earlier centuries interplays with contemporary structures, providing the visitor and user a sense of history in a present-day setting.
A big work.
Yes, it is.
Currently, what projects are you working on?
At present, we have responded to an RFP which was commissioned by the city of Chartres in the Cosmetic Valley companies. The Cosmetic Valley is a region that functions as a hotbed of cosmetic idea and research for well-known cosmetic companies such as Guerlain, L'Oréal, and LVMH. The idea is to reuse historical structures facing the cathedral and create a public space which will welcome entrepreneurs, researchers and visitors alike. It will include permanent and temporary exhibition spaces as well as floors designated as co-working areas.
Okay. So, in closing, what does the future look like for you on your firm?
In the next few years, I look forward to expanding my firm by welcoming partners who share my same vision of environmentally sustainable architecture. It was a real pleasure, Anne-Charlotte, to be able to share my journey throughout my career and my vision of our future as a firm with you. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure for us. Bye-bye, everyone, and see you next Wednesday for a new Comme d'Archi in English. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Thank you for listening, and thanks to the sound engineer who was collaborating with us today. Don't forget to tune in to our previews on Instagram at Comme d'Archi Podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, don't hesitate to promote it by giving it 5 stars and a little comment on Apple Podcast or on your favorite podcast platform. And above all, subscribe to listen to all of our episodes for free. See you soon, and until then, take care of yourself.